watched anything? No, just Transformers 1. I watched that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know much about it. When I went to go watch it, I thought it was a television series. I didn't realize it was a full movie. So I was like, oh shit. So got the movie, and it's all right. That's what I'll give it up front. I mean, clearly I'm not the demographic for it, which is kind of weird because this is kind of a segue, but it's like, how popular is Transformers with kids that are like 10 and under? Do you have any idea? Because I don't. Because all of your kids and my kid is both grown, so it's like,
yeah.
And I don't even know, were your boys into Transformers at all when they was growing up?
Yeah, Ashton. Yeah, he was way into Transformers. Probably still
Xander
is a little bit.
Xander was too. He was old enough to catch the Transformers, the original 2007, the Michael Bay movie. He remembered that, and he kind of got into it. It was like, with Transformers Cybertron or something. There was one series there in like the 2010s, early 2010s that looked kind of interesting, but the only Transformers popularity with me starts and ends with like just the original cartoon. I didn't fuck with Beast Wars, not because it didn't look interesting. I just didn't watch it. I don't think there was any other cartoon series until, I'm sure there was one that came out when the movie came out. There was because that's the thing. It's like every time you go to the toy aisle, there's a new Transformers series of figures. It's just as bad as like wrestling figures. They're from different, and it's like here's Optimus Prime, and he doesn't look at this movie or this cartoon or this it's like 300 different designs, and I can't keep up because it's a new property, and that's where this Transformers 1 is with me. It's like, okay, so it's a prequel so it's establishing lore. I don't know anything about the lore for the movie. Or I mean, not the movie, like literally as a whole. What I know is the Allspark I remember from the movie, the original movie. That was, the thing. The animated movie, I should say. Not the live action animated movie where Optimus Prime dies and we all cried. That was the first movie to introduce, as far as I know, because I don't remember, and again, I didn't watch, I didn't have encyclopedic knowledge of the cartoon when it was on in the 80s, because we were 6-7 years old, I think. I don't even remember when the original run ended. But the lore, the Allspark, I don't know if that thing existed in the cartoon. I know it was in the movie, but I thought maybe that was like just a MacGuffin to exist for the movie so they could kill somebody off and make somebody else the boss, Rodimus or whatever. But beyond that, I don't know anything about prequels or like the other stuff, which is going to lead me into this. After all that long-winded shit, Transformers 1. If it's a prequel to a specific series, or if it's actually like, this is supposed to represent all the events that happened canonically in just the Transformers universe, period. And it was very, to me, geared towards children. That's why I asked, because I feel like people our age in the 40s, anywhere in the 40s, are going to relate more to this property than I feel like kids now, but I could be wrong. That's why I asked about your kid. Maybe kids are still into Transformers, so I'm not gonna bag on this movie as far as I think it's a great movie for children. Like the animation's really good, the end fight scene, and I'll get into that because that's gonna get into my adult problems. But that was good. But like, this movie's super tropey, man. It's like they took every single movie from the 1980s that was geared towards kids and took out a romantic arc and then just mashed the rest of that together and threw it and made it a movie. Because that's the only thing this movie doesn't have is like a sappy romantic arc, like where he fell in love with the chick that ran the mine or whatever. Which that's weird too, because I thought that was RC, but I think RC was the other mine. There was I was confused on who the fuck was supposed to be who a couple times.
I'm the same way. I thought the miner chick was RC, and then they show RC later when everyone's getting their what they call their gear or whatever. It shows RC. Cog. Yeah. I saw the trailer to this. It just looked like some goofy ass kid shit, and I don't think it's very, like you said, it's like kind of kiddie, and it is, but man, that first trailer that came out, it just looked like Transformers Pixar, and it looked goofy as hell. But then reviews started coming out, and they're like overwhelmingly positive, like this is actually good. That's not very representative of the the whole movie. So we're talking about the cast. Chris Hemsworth is Optimus Prime. He's got a little bit of Peter Cullen in his voice. I can hear just a little bit of it, like a tinge of it.
Dude, okay, that's a good point. You couldn't have told me that was Chris Hemsworth to save my fucking life, because I literally thought it was just gonna be some actor that probably did Optimus Prime's voice in one of the previous cartoons that might not have been as popular as like your Kevin Conroy's or whatever, but he was, and no, that's what I meant when I was like, I looked at the cast and I was like, this thing is fucking stacked. And yeah, he does sound a lot like that guy.
Here, all are truly Autobots.
I was pretty impressed. I think Brian Tyree Henry stole the show though. I thought he was great as Megatron, especially when he starts to kind of become evil, I guess. Like his evil side starts to come out, and especially that one line at the end where he's like, "I'm done saving you," and he just fucking lets him go.
All right, but that was kind of dumber than fuck though. That whole setup,
really.
I'm done saving you.
To me, well, that's what I mean about Trump. He's like, come on, man, don't do this. Which, of course, that was gonna happen. We all knew Megatron was gonna go bad. Why did Megatron? Megatron looked like he was about to cry because he just blew half his friend up, and he's like, why'd you do that? And Optimus is, or I'm sorry, he's still Orion Pax at this point. Says, because man, I don't want you, or whatever he says is a throwaway line. And he's like, fuck you. And he just drops him. It's like, yeah. You know what I mean? It just, why his eyes turn red. He's like, I'm done saving you. Like, what? That motherfucker had your back. And that was my problem. Why did they have to be friends? That's the biggest trope with this movie I had the biggest problem with. Why the fuck did you have to make them friends? They couldn't have just been people that worked in the mine and had their fucking fist bump. Got your back, homie. We're best friends, dude. We're gonna play Mario Kart later, dude, after we drink some galactic beers or whatever the fuck, oil. And then, yeah, man, I got your back. You got my back. Oh, yeah, man. I'll wingman you at the fucking Cybertron bar or whatever. That's what I mean. He's like, I rewound it to make sure I wasn't tripping on that part. And I know we're talking about the end already, but I have to say, the line was good. But the immediate things that happened before that made no sense to me. Megatron was the best part of the movie in my opinion, because he wasn't trying to capture, it didn't seem like the original, I like that Chris Hemsworth sounded less like Optimus Prime until he started having to get serious about shit, and then he started to sound like Peter Cullen, the guy that did the original one. When he's younger, he's all brash and shit, so he doesn't sound, but he starts to sound more like that. But Brian Tyree Henry, his voice on Megatron was good, but that's what makes me hate how he was dropped it. I'm done saving, it did. I don't want to pick it apart because I know why. It's because this is geared for 10-year-olds. It's not geared for me. Yeah. So I don't want to be that way. But that part there specifically very much bothered me. It was forced. There could have been another beat. There could have been something else.
Yeah.
He could have said you why couldn't you have done that for me? And then while he's and then drop him, or say something like that, instead of it just went from, but why? Because I love machine humanity. I don't even remember what the fuck he said. His eyes turned red. He basically pisses on him fuck you, and drops him. I would have just said it.
Man.
I don't want to be too rough just because that's coming from a 42-year-old cynic who watched I didn't know that this was real. I went into this super blank. You said that you were gonna watch this, so I watched it. I figured it was gonna be more young adult or something, just from because I didn't even watch a trailer. I just went into I didn't know the voice acting was what it was. Like I said, when I went to watch this, I thought it was a TV series on Disney. I didn't know it was a movie. So
do you have a close association to Transformers when you were a kid?
That's and like I said, I watched the original movie and it was all right. And then Xander was kind of into Transformers, my son, for a while. Of course, like most kids get into. But then there was a couple of animated TV shows that hand animated. I remember that. And he had some of those toys. And I think he had a DVD or two of that. But
Yeah, I wasn't really much of a Transformers fan. Like the only Transformer I had was Grimlock because it was a T-Rex that turned into a robot.
He's my favorite too.
But I got more into it because Ashton got into it. We watched Transformers Animated that came out around the time the Michael Bay movies were out, and we really liked it. Like that show was more brutal than you would give it credit for, especially for the art style, because it would just kill off characters like nothing. Like it was like Game of Thrones shit, so but we could, like, every couple of years they would cancel that and then have another reboot and then cancel that and another reboot.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about. Getting confused because it's like there's so many. I don't even know where we're at in the movies. I know that the actual Bumblebee movie that came out, that's from like the 1980s. I think John Cena's in that. That
was pretty good. They had another Transform. It's kind of like a sequel to that. The Bumblebee movie takes place in the 80s. There's a movie after that takes place in the 90s. And now the next movie is going to be a Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover where Chris Hemsworth's in it, but he's not voicing Optimus Prime. He is playing Duke of G.I. Joe.
That might be all right.
Yeah, so I didn't see the last one, so I don't know. But I feel like Transformers 1 is just its own thing. It's not like a prequel to like G1 or the Michael Bay movies or anything. I think it's just like its own thing, which I appreciate because I always wanted like a Transformers movie without the human shit in it, just like taking place on Cybertron and stuff. Did you ever watch?
Good point. That is good.
Did you ever watch Justified?
No, I don't. I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Well, it kind of like the Megatron Optimus Prime kind of reminded me of the same relationship that Timothy Olyphant's character and Walton Goggins' character have. They used to be like really close friends, and now they're like on opposite sides. They even, like, one of the last lines of the movie, or not the movie, the TV show is like, "We dug coal together," like. Yeah. I'm like, this is like Justified, but in Cybertron.
There is one thing I wander back to. We dug coal together. That's right.
I'll just go over some of the things I liked, and disliked. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I think I didn't like the first half as much because it's a little goofy. I mean, like you said, it's geared towards kids, so you gotta, get their attention and stuff. But I think I liked the last half a lot more, and it kind of made me like want to see a sequel to this. I don't know if there will be because apparently this only made like $124 million worldwide, and I think the budget's between 75 to 147 million. But
yeah,
I mean, it could get an audience on streaming, And another thing is like Scarlett Johansson voices Alita 1, the mining woman from the Transformer. And I had no idea it was her. I'm like, why do they got so many of these damn big actors that do voices in like animated movies?
They had like 2 of the Avengers in it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm singing praises of Brian Tyree Henry and Chris Hemsworth, and Jon Hamm was okay as Sentinel Prime, but I think my favorite thing was Stu Buscemi as Starscream. Like, I think Starscream is like my favorite Transformer, just because of his Weasley nature. And
he was a lot of people's. Yeah,
and Stu Buscemi, that's just like the perfect casting.
Get the slimiest motherfucker you can find.
Yeah, the guy from Fargo that got shot in the face. In a Transformers Animated, they had Tom Kenny voice Starscream in that.
I could see that.
Yeah, he was perfect. Yeah, apparently there were some GoBots in the race, like actual GoBots.
I heard them say, what they said something like, "What? I'm gonna go work with the GoBots," or she said the girl. What's her? Alita. Alita. She said something, and I had to think about that, and I was like, well, because Hasbro Hasbro probably owns GoBots now. They probably bought Matchbox because GoBots was owned by Matchbox when we were kids.
Well, it's like Vince McMahon buying WCW just so he could shit all over him, and we're gonna shit on GoBots.
One more note about Steve Buscemi, though. My favorite part was the fact that after he like steps on his neck or whatever, that's when he gets the fucking shitty, the Weasley voice like from the cartoon. That was the best. I did like that a lot.
Oh, you captured Starscream.
It was too easy. I'm going to rip you apart piece by piece so that your death is painful and you'll regret the day
You
you
sound
ever...
ridiculous. It's weird.
One part I laughed at pretty fucking hard was, I think it is Shockwave, yeah, but he goes,
Okay.
he was like, what makes you think we'll listen to you? And she punches him right in the eye and he says, we will listen to you. Or I'm butchering that line because it's been a few days ago, but I laughed my ass off at that part. But
How about I blast you back to eye? Oh, she punched me in my eye!
Everyone shut up.
Johansson, I was pretty sure I knew that was her. Just, I could tell her voice because she has a little bit, she has a little bit of a deeper timbre to her voice than like most of the time. She has, I don't know how to describe it, but I didn't know it was her. I did look it up. I was like, yeah, that sounds exactly like her because she didn't seem like she modified her voice too much. Had no idea that was Jon Hamm. I had no idea that was Steve Buscemi. Once I knew it was Steve Buscemi, I was like, yeah, okay. But I didn't know that this was like an all-star cast. I definitely could tell that Orion Pax and Megatron, that I could tell that those two were somebody. They were probably not famous cast, but celebrity castings. And then I was right, but I was like, there was way more than that.
But yeah, I didn't have any idea that it was Lawrence Fishburne playing Alpha Trion. And well, I could tell Keegan-Michael Key was Bumblebee, but
yeah, that was. I've got knife hands.
I was like, kind of like some of the themes of this movie, which, you know, I don't want to get political, but it seemed like this movie was really criticizing capitalism because they had like the celebration where it's like everyone gets a day off and then they have to work like a triple shift to make up for lost time. Yeah. And then everyone's got those gaping holes in their chest because they're
born with no fucking heart, dude.
Yeah, they took it out. And it's almost like they forced like poverty on these people to keep them working and mining that energon. I thought that was a pretty clever and kind of deep for a kids movie, like all those little things they sprinkle in there.
Yeah, but no, that was pretty much right on the fucking nose.
Yeah, and I think I liked, but that's why I liked the ending so much, is because I mean, yeah, it's geared towards kids and stuff, but it's pretty dramatic and gets pretty dark for a kids movie. And I liked how they made Megatron more relatable. Like, you know, it's kind of goofy when you had the bad guys called the Decepticons, but they kind of made it make sense in this movie. Like, you know, that's just evil people. You know, when you hear Decepticon, well, they'll deceive you. But I feel like when they came up with the name, that it was clever how they did that. And then like Megatron, he's kind of like what they did with like Killmonger and Black Panther and Koba in the Planet of the Apes. You kind of relate where they're coming from, and yeah, I'd be down for a sequel to this.
I want to be clear. I don't have any problem with Megatron's character arc. I still think his was probably the most interesting. Yeah, it just was. It could have had one more beat in there, somewhere, two more beats. Yeah, that's but the line itself was good. Like, yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm done. Yeah, and then letting him, yeah, that was baller. Like, it makes sense, but it's at the same time, it's like, I don't know, for the forced betrayal. That's one trope I just really hate. Where, well, you know, they're gonna be bad. How are they gonna end up hating each other? Okay, so this is how they hate each other. Optimus Prime cared about not killing people. Like, you know what I know I'm kind of generalizing it there, but it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime, he went this way with it. I would have related to it more, like I said, if they didn't have this it seemed like forced bromance for the first half of the movie and all that shit. And Megatron was the more rigid of the two. Like, he wanted to follow the letter of the law. And then Optimus was the one that was like, hey man, let's try to make something for ourselves. We'll go win this fucking race. And Megatron hated on him for 20 minutes. Like, you ruined my life. And then that other bitch was like, you ruined my life too. It's like, I care about us. Like, and then Megatron, when you think about all that shit, that's where I'm coming from with the end, where he's like, hey man, don't kill him. Don't do this. Like, we could disagree, but just don't shoot this motherfucker in the head. I've got to shoot this motherfucker in the head. And then you just saw your friend jump in front of this shit for what he believed in. And then you look like you're about to cry over blowing your friend in half. basically, and you look like you're shocked that he did that. He would have done that for you, obviously, motherfucker. Look at it. If he would have done that for this evil piece of shit, you know he would have done it for you. And you're, why did you do that? Fuck you. You know, it's just, that was, I mean, again, there could have been another beat there to be a little bit. They may have cut something out there. I don't know. It just didn't, that didn't flow for me. But again, that fight, that was the shit. When they fought, that was awesome. I thought that was like a really good fight. I liked most of the characters. Like, I liked the designs of everything, except I really did not like Bumblebee when he's transformed into a car. I'm not saying he's got to be a Volkswagen Beetle, but like, it was literally like somebody Pinewood Derby car. You know what I mean? Like, they just shaved some wood and, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't much design to it. And then, you know, like, but everything else, all the designs of the characters were good. And again, like, this is if I'm looking at this from 10 years old, I'm definitely giving it an A, because it was a beautiful. I liked how the sun was basically like a vaporwave. So it was like a
okay, yeah. I had the lines in it and everything.
When they're on the train,
I forgot about
surface
that,
was the surface was beautiful. Like, I thought that was cool. I thought that, again, like, I liked all aesthetically, the movie looked good. Okay, you know, at the very beginning of the movie, when they're looking for we're looking for a hint for where the Allspark is, or whatever it's called, and then they come across that, like, that video that's playing, which is giving you the exposition that you need to understand. I like how they did that, instead of just, the year is fucking 20, 40, 80, 60, 12, and fucking humanity has been gone, but it came back, but then capitalism, so it left again, and now it's the Autobots. And like, no, it was just like, hey, there was this planet, which there was this Autobot, or what are they? Yeah, I guess Autobot, or whatever they want to call him, and he sacrificed himself to become a goddamn planet, and this and that. I thought that was a good way to introduce that. What I thought was really cool, and I have no idea about this. If you remember the movie, you had Unicron. He was the evil planet transform. This is like the good planet transform. But I didn't know that. If that was already pre-established lore, if that was something they did for this movie, I think that's cool. Like, Cybertron being a planet that was created from an Autobot, or a Transformer, or whatever.
Autobot Jesus.
If I'm looking at it from 40-year-old me, it's a C. It's not terrible, but it's like that. I mean, you just really didn't do a lot of heavy lifting writing wise, as far as it doesn't seem like, except for the capitalism, reference basic, which you're right about that shit. That's definitely a euphemism for all that shit. And they're not being subtle with it. Beyond that, this was definitely written with, the younger audience in mind. So though having those tropes makes sense, like, I think about, if I watch, let me think about this. Like, if I watched this movie when I was 10, or when we're in fucking 5th grade together, and we're fucking friends, and we're trading G.I. Joes and shit, and then you end up fucking kicking me into a puddle or something because Mr. Huffman or some shit did some crazy shit, and then we just, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be is that what I'd be thinking would happen if I watched a movie like this? Is, oh fuck, is Wes gonna betray me now because we was friends, and now, like, I'm trying to think about that from the young mindset. Like, they did so much blurring of good and evil that if it's written for children in mind, and I may be way overthinking this, it's just kind of funny to me if I'm trying to put myself back in that mindset. Like, holy, like, is the ultimate message that if we disagree, this motherfucker's gonna go and take a whole bunch of other friends, and then we're gonna fight for the rest of our lives? Like, we was friends, man. We used to have to study together and shit. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of fun. Like I said, I'm probably just kind of overthinking some shit there for the fun of it, but no.
So
for a kids movie, I'd say probably an A.
Yeah, but you say a C for yourself, so probably translate to like 2.5 out of 5 stars, like right in the middle. You think?
I'd give if I'm going by a star system, I'd give it a 3. I'd give it 3 stars. Yeah. It's not a terrible movie. It really isn't. Like, and the voice acting's really fucking good. I have no problem with the voice acting. I have no problem with the stylistic choices of the movie for the most part. I could actually, hear the dialogue and stuff. But like I said, it was just a little bit tropey.
I'd probably go 3.5. I liked it a little bit more. I mean, this isn't no Into the Spider-Verse or anything like that, but I thought it turned out better than I thought it would be with the original trailer I watched. Like, it was like just goofy shit. I did like the just simplified models of the Transformers. They don't look like the Michael Bay Transformers where it looks like they just threw a bunch of knives in a blender and turned it on. Like, they just look so busy and disgusting looking, and it's kind of a shame. Like, the box office didn't do very well because from what I read, they changed it from they were going to go head to head against Beetlejuice, the Beetlejuice 2, and then they moved it down, and then Beetlejuice in its second week still beat it, and then the robot movie that just came out a week after that, and it decimated it. Yeah, if there was a sequel, I'd probably watch it just to see. Like, I enjoyed all their takes on the Transformers and the lore they were setting up, and that's coming from someone who doesn't really have any affinity to Transformers. I thought it was a decent animated movie, but from the reviews I saw, some people act like it was the best movie of the year. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I enjoyed myself with it.
I wouldn't even tease anyone and say that it was the best movie of the year. I mean, that's it's not terrible. Like, it's definitely not terrible. Like,
I think there's more.
To me is, and again, I'm an older person, and I grew up with how the original Transformers were. If the sequel wasn't them going to Earth for some reason and blending in with society and doing that shit, then you gave me the lore about the Cybertron and shit, and you're right, it's cool to see a movie where there are no humans and stuff in it, but that's literally what Transformers is about. Robots in disguise. They're not disguising themselves from each other. They know each other, fucking robots.
Well, they can't even transform halfway through the movie. It's like they're not even transforming. So
so that's what I mean. So if they do make a sequel, I'm interested, but it needs to be rooted in something like that. I think. But I would watch it. I would watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an update. If you want to support the channel and get exclusive content, check out our Patreon in the link below.